Hey everyone, Jordan here with 9 to 5 Toys. We've seen a lot of USB microphones over the past year, and today we're checking out a refresh of the HyperX QuadCast. This is the QuadCast S. So right from the get-go here, as you can see, there is RGB lighting that is changing on here instead of the solid red from the original QuadCast. But otherwise, this thing is going to be very similar to the first generation QuadCast from HyperX. So let's check it out. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Toys. Be sure to like, subscribe, and enable notifications with the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. That's right, one of the actual first videos I ever did for 9 to 5 Toys was on the original HyperX QuadCast, which has just a red pop filter here that lights up whenever it's recording, and it has the tap to mute on top. But today we're checking out the second generation of that. This is the QuadCast S. And while it does have some nice updates, the QuadCast S features a very similar overall design to the older generation. The dimensions are identical, and where we start to see some of the differences are in the webbing for the shock mount. The original QuadCast had a red webbing around the shock mount, which obviously matched that red pop filter that would illuminate when it was recording. But on the QuadCast S, that is gray, which obviously is more neutral because you can customize this to be any color that you want it to be. And the other big difference is on the connector. The QuadCast S has a USB-C, while the original QuadCast had just a mini USB connection. Taking a look at the rest of the design on the back, above that USB-C port, we have a 3.5mm jack for audio out for headphones, and the 4-way dial for selecting a polar pattern. And those 4 polar patterns are pretty much identical to what we had on the original QuadCast. And one of the greatest features of the QuadCast S, just like the original QuadCast, is the tap to mute button on top of the microphone. It's a capacitive touch button up on top here, so you don't have to push really hard or really touch anything. And actually, the harder you press on this, it will give a little pop through your recording as well, so you want to be light with your finger on that if you can be. But it's very easy to find just on the top of the microphone here, and really easy to mute or unmute if you need to do that quickly. And rounding out the controls, on the bottom of the microphone we have a gain dial. There are dots that increase in size to demonstrate which way makes it louder, but just like the first generation QuadCast, they don't span the entire range, so it's kind of hard to dial in. Maybe that's just HyperX's way of telling you not to, turn it all the way up or all the way down to kind of keep it in the middle, but it just makes some of those adjustments a little bit murky in there. And it's also very smooth and very easy to adjust, and so it is also easy to bump because the dial is so large. So that's something you want to be careful of when you're handling the microphone. And just like with the original QuadCast, one of my favorite features on the S is the included shock mount. This just helps for isolating the sound, but then it also helps when mounting it on a boom arm like I usually use over at my computer. So because the shock mount adds an additional pivot point, it makes it really easy to position the microphone exactly where I want it, and to have it at pretty much any angle. And that's not really possible on some other microphones that I use often, like the Razer Siren emote. Of course, it does make it a little bit larger with that shock mount, but if that's something that doesn't bother you, then I think it's a very nice handy feature. So spec-wise, just like the design, it is pretty much identical to the original QuadCast. So you have 3 14mm condenser capsules in there, which deliver a frequency response from 20 to 20,000 Hz. When plugged in and running through Audition, I think everything sounds nice and natural and clear. I think the original QuadCast sounded good, and I think the QuadCast S sounds similar and sounds good as well. Alright, so here we're going to pit it against some of the competition so you can hear what it sounds like versus the original QuadCast, the Blue Yeti X, and the Razer Siren emote. Alright, so first off, we'll start with the QuadCast S. I'll make sure it's at about the right distance from my mouth, and then I'm just going to read a random 9 to 5 Mac article that was recently posted on here. So I'll turn the microphone a little bit, make sure it's still at that distance. iOS 14's most popular feature has quickly become the all-new widgets that can give your iPhone a personalized touch. However, going further than that, custom iOS 14 aesthetics have become a huge trend. Alright, so now we're going to test the original QuadCast. I have it about the same distance from my mouth, and I'm going to read the same excerpt. iOS 14's most popular feature has quickly become the all-new widgets that can give your iPhone a personalized touch. However, going further than that, custom iOS 14 aesthetics have become a huge trend. Alright, so now we moved on to the Blue Yeti X, which has some really nice features and a ton of customization you can do to the audio within the Blue Voice app. Definitely check out our review if you haven't. And we're going to read the same excerpt. iOS 14's most popular feature has quickly become the all-new widgets that can give your iPhone a personalized touch. However, going further than that, custom iOS 14 aesthetics have become a huge trend. Alright, and lastly here we have the Razer Siren emote, which is what I use for most of my videos here. Because of its small form factor, it's not as intrusive as some of the bigger microphones, but we'll read that same excerpt so you can hear how this sounds. iOS 14's most popular feature has quickly become the all-new widgets that can give your iPhone a personalized touch. However, going further than that, custom iOS 14 aesthetics have become a huge trend. Alright, well I hope that gives you a good idea of what it sounds like against the competition, and now we'll move on to how to customize the lighting on here. So obviously with that customizable RGB, you're going to need to plug it into a computer to use the HyperX NGenuity app to make those changes. Within the HyperX NGenuity app, under the Lights tab, there are quite a few tweaks to be made. You can add different layers, pick specific target lights, which I think are just on the top and bottom, choose specific colors, and adjust the speed. I enjoy just leaving it on the wave setting, but obviously if there are specific colors for your brand, for your stream or company or something, it's really easy to dial those in and make that match the rest of your branding. So overall, in my opinion, I think the QuadCast S is a great successor to the original. It keeps the same great design and great features, but just adds to it with the customizable RGB and also the USB-C plug as well. I think these microphones sound great and natural for picking up a human voice for streams or for any other content creation. And at $160, it actually comes in $5 less than the original QuadCast, so you're getting some new features in an updated model for a little bit less money, and so obviously that's a win-win. And that'll do it for our review of the HyperX QuadCast S. Let us know what you think about it down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. This is Jordan with 9to5 Toys.